Are you ready to turn your podcast dream into reality? Is 2024 your year? If so, then I want you to come and join me for the Launch Ready Podcamp. We ran it back in October and it was absolutely fantastic. It's going to be even better this time round. So if you've ever wanted to start your own podcast but felt lost in the sea of options, overwhelmed, technical jargon, then this is the place to start. We start with the end in mind, and the end of creating your podcast is launching it. So Launch Ready Podcamp is your all-access pass to launching success. Over the course of one exciting week, you'll embark on a journey of creating a step-by-step guide that will help you launch well. Our live training sessions are going to cover everything you need to know to launch your podcast and get over that 3-episode curse. So don't let your podcasting dream fizzle out like many others do. Be part of the success stories. Join us on the 10th of January for Launch Ready Podcamp 2024 and turn your passion into a podcasting powerhouse. Spaces are limited, so make sure you secure your spot today over at donnaeade.com/podcamp. You're listening to the Mindset and Action podcast, bringing you the map to grow and streamline your business in 2023. I'm your host, Donna Eade, your go-to gal for all things podcasting, planning and productivity. And I'll be bringing you all that plus mindset goodness from experts with knowledge to share. Let's make 2023 the year of success in your business. Number is the ruler of forms and ideas, and the cause of gods and demons. Pythagoras. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited to have you here for my second interview with Jo Soley. If you haven't listened to the first episode with her, I will link it in the show notes for you. But in this conversation, we are discussing her brand new book, which is available for purchase now, Bizology 101. Let's jump into this fantastic conversation with Jo. Welcome back to the show, Jo. I'm so excited to have you here for a second time. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for inviting me again.
And we are really, really excited here in the studio today because we are going to be talking about your brand new book, which is not actually brand new now. We did speak when it launched, but we just haven't been able to get a time together to actually sit down and talk about it. So tell us a little bit about your book. Well, actually, no, first of all, tell people who haven't listened to episode 103, which I will link in the show notes, guys, who you are and what it is that you do, and then we'll talk about the book.
So thank you. My name's Jo Soley. I'm a business strategist, business coach and business numerologist, and I use the power of numerology to help you appreciate who you are as a business owner so that you can move forward running your business your way.
I love that. So nice and concise. Which I wouldn't expect anything else from a numbers lady. So numerology, if we just sort of touch on that a little bit, to explain to those who may not have come across it before, because I know a lot of times people sort of hear things like that and they put it straight in the woo-woo bucket and they're going to go, oh, no, not for me. That's kind of spiritual woo-woo. I'm not in for it. But explain to us a little bit more about how numerology isn't all the woo.
So numerology is an esoteric ancient science that was used from day one, really. The ancients used it. So the Greeks used it, the Egyptians used it in the hieroglyphics, the Babylonians used it, the Chaldeans used it, Nero used it, Plato used it, and it's as old as time, but it's as new as the next decision you're going to make. So the guy who put numerology on the map is called Pythagoras, and he taught us that numbers have a vibrational currency, but he didn't call it numerology. He didn't actually write anything down. His teachings have been passed down. It was the early 20th century that 3 ladies in America put numerology on the map and kind of developed it to the numerology that we used today. They concluded through their research that numbers don't lie. They don't. But Pythagoras is the kind of, my homeboy, the man, the godfather of numerology. So he was like the pioneer of it really, and helped us understand numbers. Not are just not like 2 and 2 is 4. 4 is about structure, control, routine, and system. And in life, we've got 4 fingers, 4 directions, 4 elements, etc. So he helped us understand what numerology is, and then it's been developed. So numbers are magic, they're deep, they're cosmic, they're fundamental of form. Nothing happens in life without numbers, and they all have an energy. So 2 and 2 is 4, that's a quantity, but numerology is more interested in stories of the numbers rather than the quantity of the number. Does that make sense?
It does indeed. It does indeed. And I think that putting it that way, when you talk about the number 4 and the structure, and then you're like 4 elements, 4 fingers, 4 wheels on a car, it's that structure, and it really does. It's a good visual. So I appreciate that. And I'm sure my listeners will too. So let's jump into the book, because I'm just so excited for you. So guys, this is the book. It is called Bizology 101. You plus numerology equals business success. So, Jo, first of all, what on earth made you want to write a book? I'm a big book person. The books are my thing on this channel. So I am absolutely thrilled to be talking about book writing.
Well, so this links us into your name. So your name isn't who you are, it's who you look like you are. People treat you like that, and then you behave like that. So the main number we use in numerology is the life path number. I'm a 1, which is innovation. So I need to be self-employed. Then I need to bring something innovative into my life and business, hence creating Bizology. It hasn't been done before. I'm a 1, like Steve Jobs is a 1, Walt Disney 1, Lady Gaga, Stormzy. So we're innovators, and we're here to do something innovative. And my life wasn't really working out properly until I found my thing, and my thing is Bizology, right? But my name, Joanna Elizabeth Soley, is how I appear, and that is a 3. And 3 is the communicator, and 3s have books in them. So everyone was always asking me, have you got a book? Have you got a book? Have you got a book? Because your book's your hook, it's your business card. But it's easy, it's an easy yes, an easy product to buy, to understand who you are and what you do. And then if people want to work more with you, then they can. So I kept being asked for this book, and I was thinking, I'm a 1. I'm born on the 4th of the 4th. My numbers are 1, 4, 8, 9, 22. I haven't really got any 3, but I am seen, I'm perceived as a 3. So I added it to the list.
Added it to the list. I love that. It's absolutely amazing. And and the reason I'm so in awe is because I totally want to write a book myself, and I've been pondering and whatnot over it for years and years and years. And just to see somebody that I know write such a wonderful put together book, like it's just lovely to see it in the flesh. And yeah, to know that you've written this is just, it's magical, and I think it's brilliant. So congratulations on the book. When did you release the book? When did it actually come out?
So June the 12th, because the 12th is a 3-day, which is communication. I had written it, probably started it properly last autumn. So it took 3/4 of a year, if that's a thing to say. And I self-published. I didn't go with a book doctor. I've read articles and things and blogs about writing a book. I went on a course how to write a book 6 years ago, but I think your book writes you in a way. I know that sounds a bit cheesy, but I just got all the content I've ever written, and then I put it all together. That was 40,000 words. Then I started chunking it down. There was a lot of repetition, obviously took that away, added bits in, but I work quite well if I've got something to work with anyway. So I used my content that I did have, And then I developed it from there. It's 44 chapters, 64,000 words, 8 parts, and it takes you on a journey, but it just doesn't give the farm away. It's an introduction.
Yeah. And that's important. And I think for anybody who doesn't really understand numerology and how it can work for your business, it's a great book to sort of get to grips with those basics before they move on further with you. So I think it's such a great introductory tool, and like you say, it's a good price point for somebody who wants to know more but isn't ready to make a bigger financial commitment. It just gives you a taste, and I love the way you said it was like a business card, because what a fantastic business card to have. Definitely innovative and different for sure. So I love that. Tell us a little bit more about the book writing process for you, because obviously I follow you on social media and I saw some of the things that you sort of put out sort of nearer the time of actually launching the book. But kind of take us through, you kind of said that you decided to self-publish. When did those decisions come in? Sort of how did you make those decisions? How did you sort of move through the process to getting your book actually published?
So I've said to you before, when we've had conversations, that a numerology book is always 11 times longer than any other book, right? And I knew what I wanted to put in there, what I didn't want to put in there. I decided to self-publish because I kind of knew what I was doing, really. I think it's good to get a big paper and write down everything that you want to include and then kind of chunk it into areas. My MO is I don't tell people what I'm doing. I think we had a coffee, didn't we, last year? I might have mentioned it to you, but I'm not one of these to throw up on social media. So I just get on with it, because a life path one, like I am, speech is silver, silence is golden. So I'm better when I just put my head down, ignore what other people are doing, not have comparisonitis or imposter syndrome, just get on with it. So I didn't tell anybody it was coming, because then you'll feel more pressure that you've got to get it out by a certain date. I didn't actually have a deadline date either, because I was I see 4 clients a day. So I tried to do an hour a day to write it. I would do a little bit at the weekend as well. Over Christmas, I did an hour every day, even Christmas Day, because I think if you've got a goal, just do it. Then the universe helps you. Yeah, it's like an hour. I had some case studies in there, which were podcasts, so then I could transcribe those. So yeah, I decided I was doing it probably about a year ago. I committed properly probably about this time last year. I went away for my 50th birthday to St. Lucia, and I came back and had the energy to do the last push. I had a proofreader come here for a day and a half, a copywriter, and we went through everything together. She sat next to me. That worked well for me, instead of it being sent back and forth on email. She's been in my business for 7 years. I trust her. She knows me, right? So that worked for me. Then I got in the car, drove up to Harrogate, printed it all off, ran out of ink, ended up doing it in red ink at the end. Drove up to my father. I'd shout him out at the back, because he was the legal director for Meridian Hotels, and he's very good at spotting things. So even though Claire and I did it together for that day and a half, we did a good job. He did the last bit. And for me, it was nice, because I wasn't using a publishing company. It was nice to have that safety net of those two people. Because you miss things yourself, you're too close to it. Even after that process with Dad, I got a proof from KPD Amazon. I read through it all. I spotted more things. I spot things today. You're gonna, yeah. Like even J.K. Rowling has got a mistake in her book. So then I got my first proof. I didn't like the font, so I changed it. And then because I hadn't said, oh, it's coming by X, I had a bit of flexibility. I made the font quite big. People can read it on the beach. It's not tiny. They can read it at night when maybe their eyes are a bit tired. People have said to me they like the large font.
Yeah, I
So,
do.
yeah. So so whatever I wanted in a book, I made my book. And then I thought about films. So the Barbie movie, which was obviously after my book, but that was a month of promo. So big blockbusters are a month of promo. So I shamelessly plugged it, promoted it for a month. And that's okay
Yeah, of
because,
course it is.
and then there was a wait list and it was coming out. I made it £14.99. It's not like £8.99 or £9.99 because some of it you can read as a reference book every year. So then there's value there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's about knowing what you like from books, knowing what you want from books. And then I looked at every single book in my,
On your
bookshelf,
bookshelf.
just like at the top bits and the accolades. I wanted a glossary. I wanted somewhere for people, chapter 44, to put their bits in. I did some shout outs to people who'd helped me get, like, especially going in the beginning. I put some accolades in there and ways to go further. So I don't think it's rocket science, but it's like, if you want to write a book, just be really clear on what it's about. If I could do one thing differently, I was trying to get the cover nailed while I was still writing the book, but it wasn't coming together. Next time, I think I'd write the book and then do the cover because you don't know exactly how the book's going to finish and shape up as when you're still writing it.
Yeah.
So then the cover isn't exact, it won't land. So the cover, I didn't nail the cover until I'd written the end. So yeah, I mean, everyone does it differently, and book doctors and publishing houses will show you how to do it their way. But I think it's important to do it your way. And as a Life Path 1, I definitely had to do it my way.
Of course you did. Of course you did. I love that. And what I think is really important there, a couple of things that I think are really important is when you said that you've got to do it your way. And the other thing is when you go through a traditional publishing house, it can often take so much longer and you are still responsible for a bulk of the marketing. Like they will ask you, what is your marketing strategy? How are you going to promote this book? Because they will pay you out a advance, but then that advance, they want to get that back and some, and then you need to get some money as well. So it's like, there's a lot more to it. And I think for me, I'm just like, keep it simple. If it's just you and you're only satisfying you and what you want, then it's a lot easier to kind of make those changes and make those executive decisions and know that it's not going to get overwritten by somebody because it's your book.
Yeah,
so I love that.
I spoke to a publisher and she didn't want me to call it Bizology 101. She wanted me to have numerology in the title, but it's not a numerology book, it's a business book. And Bizology is my modality, and 101 is an introduction too. So I wanted to call it that. That was a hard no for me to change the title. So, and then you don't get a lot of money on Amazon. Your book washes its face. It's the opportunities. A publisher will put you in a different in tray if you're an author, right? But like you say about the promo, a lot of people I know, they write a book and then they are so overwhelmed by the process because it is exhausting. Then by the end of it, they don't want to talk about it anymore. But I've done reels and stories, and you've seen me every single day, bar a couple of weekends. since the 12th of June and I've sold practically every single day, I think bar 3 days, because I'm telling people about it
Talking about it.
still. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And some people say, oh, yeah, it's in my cart. You know, when you put things in your Amazon cart, well, you've reminded me to buy it. Well, there you
Yeah.
go. And then my friends have bought it, or people I know, people I don't know have bought it. And then their husband has picked it up and then sent me a message saying, can I book a session? So it's like, you've got to keep going. You've
Yeah.
got to touch your business every single day. You've got to touch your book every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is so important, especially like you said, if you're using it in the way you are as that kind of business card, it's your calling card. Like, this is me, this is what I do, come and work with me. And it would be a total shame. And I think anybody who does write a book and then doesn't go on to do the promotion side of it well is really just, they're letting themselves down. All of that hard work, like you said, it's taken you 9 months from like the first written word to getting it actually published, and that's a lot of work. And even on Christmas Day, and I loved what you said about that, because I spoke to Matt McWilliams about his book, turning your passions into profits. And he said the first thing he did every day was go down, he wrote for an hour, and then he got on with his day. And he said it became a ritual. And a ritual is something that you're going to do regardless of the day of the week or the day of the year. And to know that you sat down on Christmas Day and wrote for an hour for your book, that's commitment. And you can't put that kind of commitment into yourself and then drop the ball when it comes to putting it out there and getting it into people's hands, because this really is that beginning step for people to sort of understand more of what it is. And I completely agree, putting numerology in the title would have been so wrong for you, because it is about your method that you use and how you use numbers. So I'm glad you stuck to your guns and did it yourself.
Another thing I say, which might be controversial, but it's very it's very me, is that I didn't want to go for the bestseller, because that's vanity metrics. Because what used to happen is people would choose, say, 10 categories that were a bit loosely connected, and then it would be bestseller, but that's because it was obscure categories.
Yeah.
So Amazon's changed it now. You can't have 10 categories, you can only have 3. And I did go for the numerology category, but also went for the business coaching category, very wide. Now, at the end of day one, I did get bestseller, but that isn't because I manipulated it. I didn't even know until somebody that I met once at an online event messaged me because he had a tool and said, "Oh my God." And I was up there with Arsene Wenger and who's the other one? Sir Alex Ferguson.
Oh, wow.
And then me, right?
Yeah.
But that wasn't manipulated. That was strategic hard work. I wasn't wanting to go for the bestseller. I got it in the UK. I got it, but so that's another thing I'd say. A lot of people, because they want bestseller in 10 categories, but it's not true anyway.
No. And with Amazon, I believe you're only allowed to promote your book as being an Amazon bestseller whilst it's still in that category. Like, if it drops out, then you're not supposed to actually talk about it anymore. So it's a little bit different to like being a Times or a New York bestseller, which you can usually only get on, I believe, if you go through traditional publishing houses. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
Yeah. So I love that you reached the bestseller list without even trying. That's absolutely fantastic. And I just think it's a testament to the work that you put into the book. So, it's hard work paying off at the end of the day. So I thought we could do a little bit of a deep dive into one of the chapters for the listeners so they could get an idea of what the book's all about. And actually, if you want to give us sort of a little overview of how because you said there's 8 sections. Do you want to go over what those 8 sections are before we do a deep dive into one of the chapters?
Yeah. So part one is all about what numerology is, what it isn't, a history, what Bizology is, what it isn't, and master numbers, 11, 22, 33. Everyone jumps up and down about these, but what they are. Part two is taking the life path number, which is the number in numerology. So you're a 6, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which is all about relationships and connection and like this, community. And your wedding business is very 6 energy. And so I've taken the life path number and I've spoken about the titles, the energies, how you use it in your business strategy, your message, your socials, time management, things you can do daily, etc. So that's the largest chapter or part. Part three is all about personal years. We work in 9-year cycles. There's better years and easier years to do things. Part four is going a little bit deeper. So you're a life path 6, but your approach is 8, which is high standard success and wealth. So that's going deeper with the day of the month you're born on. Part 5 is Bizology IRL, as the kids say, in real life. So well-known people, and then some case studies. Part 6 is what you'd like to talk about today, which is the letter of your first name. Words are spells, that's why we call it spelling. Part 7 is all about digits and destiny, so pricing, your house number, your phone number, and then part 8 is called infinity and beyond. So like what can you do going forward?
Yeah. I love that. That's so cool. And I just love that you remember my number. You must have so many numbers going around in your head on a daily basis, and you just Donna, that's her numbers right there.
Yeah,
That's
well,
magic.
because yeah, it's part of you for me. It's like your surname. It's
Yeah.
part of who you are. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So yeah, I really enjoy the fact that you have put them into such great little sections within the chapters are in these sections. It's such a fantastic way to look at it. And I think it's a really good way for anybody who's looking to sort of understand a little bit more to actually consume it. So I think that's fantastic. But I did want to jump into chapter 37 because I thought this is interesting. Like, I didn't know this when I was looking at it, and I was just like, what are we talking about here? The first letter of your first name impacts your business success. Jo, tell us more.
Okay, so um, I said earlier, your name isn't who you are; it's who you look like you are. And then the letter A, B, C, etc., is called the cornerstone in numerology. Some numerologists call it that. So this is how you first see me. So J for Joe is the 10th letter of the alphabet. So 1 and 0 is 1. Look at the shape of the J, straight down the line, leave me alone, let me get on with it, I'm independent. But then the bottom of the J is curved and it can rock from side to side. So I do need support. I need money to feel secure in J energy. And it can wobble sometimes. So that's very me. I'm like, leave me alone, let me get on with it. But then I have got a team who I don't have it all every day, but they do support me when I need it, right? So every letter, so D for Donna, is 4 energy because it's the 4th letter. So when people meet you, they see someone who's 4, organized, reliable, loyal, strong, maybe a bit stubborn, patient, practical. But then look at the D, it's quite closed. So you will probably keep your cards to your chest. But because I know that, then I can work with that. Okay. So let's have a play. So give me an initial of somebody in your life, in your business, or famous person. Give me initial of someone.
Do my partner, Matthew.
I knew you were going to say that because I've got it here. So So birds of a feather flock together. DMV is 4 energy because D is 4, M is 13, which is 4. V is different, it's 22, which is a master number, but it's very organized. So M's they work hard. They have ups and downs in life. Look at the M. They've got to be careful not to take shortcuts because it's the 13, which can be. They're strong-willed. They are conservative. They can concentrate. If people force change on them, they don't like it. But practical and hardworking.
Yeah, that about sums him up.
Yeah. So if somebody is struggling with someone and it's not appropriate to go, what's your date of birth? We can find out quite a lot on the letter of the first name. So A, J, and S is all 1 energy. B, K, and T is all 2 energy, but K is 11. C, L, and U is all 3 energy. D, M, and V is all 4 energy. Well, 3 is communication, 4 is structure. E, N, and W, which spells new, is 5 energy, which is new and change. F, O, and X is 6 energy, and the extreme negative of 6, fox, can be cunning and sly. G, P, and Y is 6, which is seeking. H, Q, and Z is 8, which is money, success, and wealth. I and R is 9, which is love, compassion, humanitarian. So you've got the energy, and then going deeper, you've got the shape. So A thrusts itself into the world. There's a bar in the middle, it's not wobbling. B can be a little bit private and closed. C is very open. D is quite private at first as well. E is solid, whereas F is missing that bit at the bottom, so it can wobble a bit more. So, so this is like game changing when you know it's all magic, right?
Yeah.
But so Bizology is a little bit kind of not secretive. It's a little bit introverted at first, and then moves forward. So that's all in chapter 37.
I love that. It's really interesting. And the thing is exactly what you said there. Once you know these things, then you can put a plan in place. And that is really what you help people do. So do you want to go into a little bit of how you help? So once people have read the book, what is the kind of work that you do? How do you help people to implement Bizology into their business?
So I've got the book. I've actually taken the book at the moment and developing 7 masterclasses. 2 of them are free, 5 are paid. So that's going to be another way that you can then go deeper. But 1-to-1, I look at 5 areas, which is your life path number, your 4 roads, which is deeper in other numbers, your personal year, your name, and your business energies. So you can do a one-off session, you can do 5 sessions, 8 sessions, 3 months. There's a variety of ways. I help you look at your pricing. I help you look at your business name and should you change it. So lots of different ways, but the new way, which is launching next week, are these masterclasses. So taking the book and then going deeper on a class.
And are these classes, because obviously it's happening next week as we're recording this, but this episode isn't coming out for a while. So
okay, sorry.
Are they going to be able, are you going to have them on for purchase separate, like not live?
Yeah, they'll be evergreen. Sorry.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
They're just launching in the middle of September, but they'll be evergreen.
Yes, awesome. So we'll be able to link to those so that people can go and get them and access those as their next step, which will be fantastic. But your first step, guys, is to go and buy the book. So go and get Bizology 101 by Jo Soley and have a read and let us know what you think. I will link to it in the show notes as always. It's already in my bookshelf. I always link my kit bookshelf in the show notes. So it's already in there. So you can go over and grab it. Thank you so much for your time today, Jo. It's been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
That's it for us today. Thank you so much for listening in. Please do go over to Instagram. My handle is Donna_Eid_. Tag me in your questions, thoughts, takeaways from this episode. Have you bought the book? Have you read it? Let me know all of the details. I am absolutely thrilled for Jo that she has this book out in the world. It is such a magnificent thing to have. I just, you know me, I absolutely love books. So I am so proud of her and so happy for her that she has her book out in the world. So if you haven't yet grabbed your copy, head over to the show notes. It's there. Head over to Amazon. It's there as well. And I will speak to you guys soon. But before I jump off, I wanted to let you know that the pod camp, the Launch Ready pod camp, is back in January. We're starting on the 10th of January. So if you are interested in starting your podcast, make sure that you are in that pod camp. We did it back in October. It was really so much fun, and I had so much fun doing it and teaching the people that were in that group. I would love for you to be part of it this time round. So you can go to donnaeid.com/podcamp and register your interest. It is going to be a week-long workshop style live trainings for you on, I think there's 3 live trainings, an open party, a closed party. We're going to have a good time. Come and join me. If you want to start your podcast in 2024, now is the time to start taking action. So go and register at donnaeid.com/podcamp, and I will see you there in January. Next week is my last episode for 2024. Lots of interesting things coming up in that episode. It is a solo episode. I'm going to wrap up the year. I'm going to tell you what my Spotify Wrapped came up with for me. I am so chuffed with it. Thank you so much for listening. Join me next week for that last one before Christmas, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.